Behind every monetary policy decision lies a story of strategy, data, consumer behavior, and economic impact.
Achieving macroeconomic stability requires sustained vigilance and a proactive monetary policy stance. Our focus must remain on price stability, the planned transition to an inflation targeting framework, and strategies to restore purchasing power and ease economic hardship.
Welcome to Facts Behind the Figures, the program that decodes the data and dissects the decisions shaping our economy. Beyond interest rate shifts to inflation targets, we go behind the headlines, spotlighting the rationale, the stakes, and the signals behind Central Bank of Nigeria's economic policy decisions. Not excluding your views, of course, as we navigate these economic and financial terrains. This is Facts
Behind the Figures.
Insight, analysis, clarity, facts behind the figures, where policy meets perspective.
On the 19th and 20th of May 2025, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, convened the landmark 300th Monetary Policy Committee MPC meeting. This pivotal gathering marked yet another opportunity to fine-tune Nigeria's monetary policy direction in response to complex economic realities. In a continuing effort to promote transparency and build public trust, the bank has extended its communication drive beyond the press briefing, using real-time digital engagement to gather public sentiment around its latest policy decisions via its various social media platforms. This program, Facts Behind the Figures, dives deep into the impact and public perception of Nigeria's monetary policy. Through sentiment analysis, social media feedback, and expert commentary, we will explore how the CBN's decisions are received and what the public is saying. Following the 300th MPC meeting, the CBN once again took the pulse of the public through LinkedIn polls. Thousands of professionals, observers, and everyday Nigerians participated, giving voice to their perception of the bank's communication and its policy direction. The question with the highest engagement asked was, do you think the CBN is fulfilling its role as a regulator and making policies to improve the economy? Out of 616 votes, the majority answered yes, a cautiously optimistic verdict on the bank's role. However, the level of dissent shows that doubts about the transparency and policy impact still exist. Other key insights from the polls include 66% of respondents said CBN's communication is clear and timely. 77% found the communication engaging and informative. 59% claimed they understood the MPC decisions. Meanwhile, only 38% had read the official communique. Based on the feedback, several recurring suggestions stood out. Simplify and demystify public communication, especially for non-experts. Improve reach by using local languages and informal media. Tie policy outcomes more clearly to real-life effects. Improve policy literacy among youth and small business owners. Keep listening and evolving, noting that communication is a two-way street. As always, the public voice matters. Therefore, we went out again to hear directly from Nigerians their take on CBN policy stance and communication strategy.
Well, it is a clear fact that Nigeria is witnessing a development in terms of the economy. One can bear the fact that if you can have a look on the petroleum, it is no longer like before. You will go and buy your fuel, unlike before that you will even enter the queue without even assuring of even getting it on that very day. Maybe for the second day you will get it or will not even get it at all. And even the Naira is no longer dwindling in the exchange market, and the food is now, the price of food is now suitable. You can go and buy, unlike before, maybe something that is 300 or 3,000, it is now 1,500 or less than 2,000, which is good for the country and for the generality of Nigerians.
I think some of the policy of that recapitalization may have to be revisited. The time frame given is a bit short, and I want to believe CBN have been planning this for some time before they came out public with that. So while they are planning, I believe it's necessary for CBN to carry along the stakeholders so that by the time the implementation period starts, they are already aware of what and what to do and how to go about it. Because as it is now, a lot of banks will force to be merged together. Yes, we have a stronger institution around us, but at the same time, we all know when there is mergers and acquisition like this, there is always loss of job, which doesn't speak well too for the economy. So in view of this, I believe CBN should from time to time, they have the bankers committee, whenever they are planning some of these things, they should carry them along, discuss it, and the time is going to start, let them be informed.
We've seen stability in prices in recent times. I know that some time ago, every now and then there's inflation and all that, but for some time now there's been stability, and that's a good one. And we hope that it continues this way. We even want to see the prices of goods and commodities coming down. We want to see the dollar going down, and that can be influenced by the policies of the CBN. The man at the helm of the affairs of the CBN, Cardoso, is doing a very good job, and we pray that he continues in this trajectory to ensure that it is better for Nigerians in terms of their living standards.
A few years back, commercial banks, because they didn't have access to dollars, they kind of stopped transactions on our local ATMs that we could not do. Nigerians could not do foreign transactions with their cards. But now, thankfully, because of the insistence of CBN on ensuring that this policy works, we've seen now that banks have that confidence, the commercial banks now have that confidence to allow Nigerians to engage in financial transactions with their cards. So credit to CBN.
Initially, when our president took over, the fuel price skyrocketed and so many things were going wrong. The dollar became another issue. But recently, they just discovered that the dollar is a bit stabilized, and things are getting a bit easier. It's just that it's just a recent thing, and plenty of people might still be complaining. But really, things are working. The CBN and then other offices are trying, and I believe by the help of God that things will get better.
I look at the program of CBN then as very, very complex. Not until I went to their page, look at their programs, I now found out that yes, they are on the right track. And I also went back to their page to see that they are doing a lot of local programs that will enrich them and the community at large. And I also hope and pray that at least this program will continue for the people to know the kind of programs that they are doing, to also enrich them too.
Access to information actually gives the public the confidence in the system. They know what the CBN is doing, they are able to interact with the Central Bank of Nigeria, and then they have a feedback for whatsoever inquiry it is that they have. You see on the social media platform now, unlike before where there are hardly any followers or likes, but now you see the engagement, more followers, and then more comments and more likes. It shows you that people are actually watching closely.
The people are speaking, asking for clearer messaging and real-life relevance. They want policies broken down, explained in languages they understand, and delivered through channels they use every day. To support the public's understanding, we also spoke with a financial professional whose analysis underscores the need for continuous dialogue, not just policy drops, but ongoing conversations. The Central Bank of Nigeria is not just refining monetary policy, it is also recalibrating how it communicates. Now, let's hear from our financial analyst, Mr. Enitan Laniran, who will break down what the latest MPC decisions, as well as other policies from the CBN, mean for businesses, consumers, and the wider economy.
In my opinion, The current state of the Nigerian economy continues to show encouraging signs of stabilization following coordinated fiscal and monetary reforms. First, let's talk about inflation. Thanks to the central bank's tight monetary policy stance, headline inflation has eased for a second consecutive month, falling to 22.97% in May 2025 from 23.71% in April 2025. While still elevated by global standards, this downward trend suggests that price pressures are beginning to moderate. A challenge remains food inflation at 21.14% in May 2025. On the external sector front, we are witnessing notable stability. Speculative trading and volatility have declined, and the Naira has held firm within the 1,500 and 1,600 Naira range against the US dollar. At the same time, external reserves remain robust, above $38 billion as of June 2025. Consequently, Nigeria's balance of payment in 2024 swung from a deficit of 1.21 billion to a surplus of 6.8 billion US dollars, a remarkable turnaround. This shift reflects a combined current and capital account surplus of 17.22 billion US dollars, up from 2.59 billion US dollars in 2023. Stronger trade flows were central, particularly goods trade recorded a 13.17 billion US dollar surplus, driven by a 48.3% surge in gas exports and a 24.6% rise in non-oil exports. Meanwhile, petroleum imports fell by 23.2% and non-oil imports declined by 12.6%, thanks to the FX liberalization and lower import consumption. Additionally, diaspora remittances also boosted our external position. Personal transfers rose by 8.9% to 20.93 billion US dollars, and inflows via IMTOs, international money transfer operators, jumped by 43.5% to 4.73 billion US dollars. These figures signal growing confidence in official channels and Nigeria's macroeconomic reforms. Turning to the fiscal side, the government's revenue drive is paying dividends. In the first quarter of 2025, federal revenues rose by 32.7% year-on-year, reaching 6.9 trillion naira compared to 5.2 trillion naira the previous year. This stronger revenue performance helps narrow the budget deficit, reducing the need for costly borrowing and easing pressure on monetary policy. It also provides more room for public investment in critical sectors like infrastructure, health, and education. Taking all of this together, these developments present an optimistic picture for the Nigerian economy. However, security concerns in key agricultural regions still threaten food production and remain a critical headwind to the Nigerian economy.
As Nigeria balances inflation control with the need to stimulate growth, the path ahead will require coordinated action from the monetary side, fiscal authorities, and trade enablers. There's reason for cautious optimism. As the economic landscape evolves, one thing remains clear: policymaking does not end at formulation. It lives in how well the public understands, accepts, and participates in its implementation. So that's it for this edition of Facts Behind the Figures. I am Sotechi Ebo. Let us keep the conversation going.